All right, Zach. Let's close out the show with our final topic here, and let's get back into racial animus a little bit. Zach. No, let's. This one might be a little bit of a tightrope, but we'll see where it goes. There was lots of outrage on social media, Zach, as it was announced that Gal Gadot would play Cleopatra in an upcoming film. And this angered a lot of people for a number of reasons. The first was actually, one of the reasons why people weren't liking this was that she's Israeli, and Egypt is basically an Arab nation at this point and mostly Muslim. So there was anger about that. So that was one level of bullshit. Another level of bullshit, Zach, was that many were claiming that that basically Gal Gadot is too white to play the role of Cleopatra, that it should instead go to a black woman, which opens up a big can of worms on this topic of, one, who was Cleopatra, and two, how do we address the idea of representation in film, and where do we draw the line on that?
This is such a fucking onion, this one. Oh man. I mean, then you can go even farther and say Cleopatra was actually Greek. But let's not go there yet. Let's just take a step back. So let's just pretend that she wasn't Greek. Let's just say, she was Egyptian or North African, right?
Yeah, a Mediterranean people, right?
Gal Gadot is Israeli, which is a border country to Egypt, right? It is like smack dab in the middle of that part of the world. So like when you think about it, like what is the only thing that really sets Israel apart from that part of the world?
Mostly, I mean, people are very similar genetically, we would assume, and the biggest differentiator would be religion, right?
Exactly, religion. So is that the only thing? Religion, like politics? So like an Egyptian actress would have been okay, but like, what if she was an Egyptian actress, but what if she just happened to be Jewish?
Right. Yeah.
Would that not be okay? You know what I mean? I mean, the arguments I've seen, there was like one Twitter post that was like, why couldn't they have gotten a North African or Arab actress to like play the role? But like Israel is like smack dab, like right there in those nations that they're referring to. The only differentiating factor is that it's a Jewish nation, right?
Exactly. Yeah, they're calling her. There's
right?
On this year's story here in Daily Mail, they've highlighted some of the tweets. Some of them saying, she's a Zionist. She shouldn't be playing this role. Which is, as you say, it's strange because you're playing a historical figure many years ago, many years ago, before. Not before. Before there was the state of Israel, and certainly before Islamic times. I mean, we're talking a really long time ago. And as you said, Cleopatra was Greek. She was as Egypt was conquered by the Greeks, and she was a descendant of that line. And so she's not even so then what now? So just to follow this even further, so it's like everybody's wrong here, right? So forget was Cleopatra black? Then there's that faction, and the answer is no. Should it be played by a black woman? I think that's silly because it's just not historically accurate. And then the issue you were on, which is about someone who's Egyptian or Arab, well, then Cleopatra was neither.
Yeah. And like, if you want to talk in biblical terms, like, weren't the Jews in Egypt before they went to Israel, right? They wandered in the desert for how many years after the Exodus with Moses?
Yeah. And there are some of those people, I don't want to say stayed behind, but in a sense, or it's the Middle East. People move around.
Exactly. That's my point. Right. But like, I think this whole argument just shows like that people can be just as like anti-Semitic, as they can racist against Muslims or, any other religion or minority.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
yeah.
That was about half the comments. Is one half she should be black, the other half, how can you hire an Israeli to ostensibly play an Arab, which she wasn't. So then what now, Zach? Cleopatra was from a Macedonian line, or Macedonian, if you want to get like that. So then does that mean should she instead be played by only a Greek actress then, if we want to get accurate?
I don't know I don't mind. I don't mind the casting, right? I think that's like there has to be like a line drawn somewhere, but like where I don't know like where that line is. Like I don't think anyone wants to see like a white person go like blackface to play a historical black character, right? We don't want to see Matthew McConaughey play like a biopic where he's playing Obama. You know what I mean? Like no one wants to see that. I think in the same way, I don't think anyone, at least I don't want to see like a white man play like Jesus in a movie. You know what I mean? But it's like, I'm all for having talented actors that are authentic from where that character is from in the world or their nationality. Like that is all good, but like, where do you draw the line? You know what I mean? Like a couple of examples that we talked about was Penelope Cruz in American Crime Story, Versace. She's Spanish. She played an Italian. Cliff Curtis. I don't know if you know him, but he was in the movie Training Day, which I believe he played a Latino gangster in that movie. But he played in the movie Risen, and he played Jesus. All right. And now Cliff Curtis isn't exactly white. He's from New Zealand, but his family comes from tribes that were like indigenous people in that part of the world. But still, we're talking about Polynesian versus Middle Eastern. You know what I mean? So like, where do we draw the line? Right. So.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's this whole thing with the disabilities and all that. There's, you know, that What's Eating Gilbert Grape, Leonardo DiCaprio. Of course, you know, Forrest Gump with Tom Hanks. There was that recent Bryan Cranston movie, which I don't think anybody even saw, but where he played somebody with a disability. I mean, at what point, you know, because at some level, acting is acting, right? And then you want to get as close to, as you said, as close to it. You don't want, say, Carrot Top playing Martin Luther King.
No, it's even happening in animation. Like I don't know if you watched the animated comedy on Netflix, Big Mouth. Have you ever watched that?
I haven't. No.
There's the Jenny Slade, the comedian. She did the voice for a black person, an animated character, and she actually quit this before the last season because she said she didn't want to do the voice of an African American person. So it's like it's even coming into the line of animation now.
Yeah. So it's a fight. It's kind of a stupid fight. I think we can figure this out. I don't think this needs to be this hard. And I think Gal Gadot is a perfectly fine choice. By the way, we have here's a picture of, here's a statue of Cleopatra, Zach. It shows everybody that's what she looked like. Look at that giant nose.
Well, who made that statue?
Oh, I don't know.
Was that statue created by a white man, and was he just whitewashing her image?
Oh, Christ.
Like in the Western representations of Jesus, how he always looks like a white man?
The Berlin Cleopatra. What is the Berlin Cleopatra? I don't know. I don't have the right answer to that.
No, but they all look pretty similar.
I would assume it was made by another Greek person.
Yeah. But still, I don't think anyone wants Hollywood to like be whitewashing these like biblical stories or these old, you know, biopics or history or whatever. I don't think anyone's saying that, but I don't think a Gal Gadot as Cleopatra is crossing this line, especially when you consider the fact that she was actually of Greek descent and not, you know, Egyptian. So
I think that's stupid to demand then that she was, you know, be played by a Greek. I think it's a close enough. There was she was the Mediterranean peoples. She's a Mediterranean person. She probably doesn't look that far. Of course, you know, Gal Gadot looks the way she looks. She doesn't have Should she wear the giant? Should she do a giant nose prosthetic for the sake of historical accuracy, Zach?
I don't know. This is the first time I'm hearing about her Cleopatra's nose. So
okay. So that's all I had on that. I think to me the big BS on this is it's just to borrow a term from the woke. This is emotional labor. It's just you know, you gotta read this nonsense, and it just kind of like ticks you off, and it feels like almost everybody is wrong in this situation, and we don't need to make things this complicated and this hard. I think we have a good rule of thumb that I think that we've established here for Hollywood to maybe take our suggestions.
Oh yeah.